Gear Patrol calls their new dive watch the best sub-$500 dive watch. Full stop. Men's Health rated them as the most stylish solar watch in the game. Who are we talking about? It's Movement. They're leveling up your gift giving with the sleekest watches you can buy and the biggest deals of the season. Shop 30 to 50% off Movement's innovative California clean watches, jewelry, and accessories with fast free shipping and returns now at MVMT.com. That's MVMT.com.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Potted Together podcast. I'm Nicole, and I'm joined by my two fabulous, wonderful, beautiful co-hosts, Adam and Becca. Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
How are y'all doing today?
Oh. We were just discussing brain fog, which I have. I'm coming down with a case of brain fog, but it's okay.
We all get it from time to time.
Yeah.
The awkward
Sorry,
silence.
I'm just like I'm trying to pause because Becca, we know that your internet's not the greatest, and I think that you come in a few seconds behind. Like, so I'm trying to like keep a solid silence, so like if you want to talk, I don't interrupt you because I just feel like I'm constantly interrupting you.
Oh, it's not your fault.
No, that's me. I mean, I'm the one that's always interrupting you guys.
Oh gosh.
Oh, I need to figure out
But
which
yeah,
internet network. We just did it.
Yeah.
We'll stay quiet.
So other than brain fog, has anything exciting happened this past week for you, Becca?
I seriously thought she was frozen for a second. If you guys could have saw her face, she was just like,
Honestly, not much. This week is one of those weeks that's like gone by and I'm like, oh, it's already Thursday? Like what? I don't know. It did snow on Monday, which was very pretty. I've been a little homesteader, keeping my house warm with firewood that my husband cut last weekend. And yeah. Did I talk about last week how
De La Homesteader.
Yeah, De La Homesteader. I think I talked about last week how I split some wood for the first time in my life. I think I talked about that.
No.
We need to hear it.
I did. Oh, okay.
We need to hear all about it.
So we
Becky Calhoun's a professional wood splitter.
Best splitter in the whole Wild Wild West. Except now I'm not in the West. So we are heating our house with the wood fireplace, obviously. And basically we needed to split the logs because if you put just like a full log in the fireplace, it doesn't burn very well. Or it will eventually, but not like fast enough. So anyway, we had to split some logs and my husband is just like so good at it. Just very attractive. You know, I'm going to what is it when you make someone an object? Objectify. What is it when you make someone an object? Like, okay, anyway. Yeah, I'm going to objectify him real quick and say that it was pretty nice to watch. But then he was like, all right, Becca, your turn. And I was like, huh? So
I'm sorry, what?
yeah, so we didn't have a log to split the logs on top of because apparently you need a stump or something. So there was a big tree that fell over before we moved in and it fell across our driveway. And at some point it got cut up and moved, but it's a huge tree. So we pulled part of it out of the ditch, which was so heavy. I did not think that we were going to be able to do it, but we pulled it out of the ditch and like shimmied it over to the spot next to the log pile, and it looks like a pipe for giants. Like it is. Have you guys seen it? You saw it, right?
Yeah.
I feel like I did see it on your Instagram.
Yeah, I posted it in my stories. So, yeah, it's really a cool piece of work. There's mushrooms growing on it. It's very beautiful. And I used that to split some wood. And I had menial success. But I did part of it. Not most of it. I did part of it.
Was your arms sore the next day?
Yes, my arms and my hands were sore. Like the muscles
Yeah.
in my hands. It was so weird.
I remember after like playing volleyball tournaments, like I would feel like my hands were like stuck in a claw shape. Like it's because they were just like my wrists were sore, my hands were sore, and I just felt like I couldn't move them. I was just like, ugh.
Yeah.
My hands get like that from riding a bike for a long period of time. Is that weird? Like just like from gripping the hand, like all of my wrist like tenses up.
I mean, how hard are you gripping those handles?
I know. I was about to
I don't
say,
know.
like, I imagine
Apparently really tightly.
really gripping that handlebar.
I guess I'm afraid I'm going to fall off or something. I don't know.
I mean, is riding a bike a metaphor for something, or are you actually talking
No.
about riding a bike?
I'm literally talking about riding a bike.
Mercy. Rated E.
Okay, so what about you, Adam? How was your week? Did you chop any wood?
Well, I mean, I feel like I need to go back and put Miss Becky on the spot because I just watched a video this morning where she brought multiple calathea into her home.
Oh, yes, she did.
I
And an
did.
orchid. Who dis?
I know. Am I stupid? I don't know. We'll find out. A week later,
They were
they're
all
still.
so beautiful.
I know, and they were also cheap. So if they die, it's not the biggest deal. Like, if I was to find those in Tucson, they'd all be like $40 each. But here,
Yeah.
they were so cheap. So I mean, listen, money was spent. I'm gonna do my best to take care of them, obviously. But if they die, it's okay because they're my first of those varieties. So I'm glad that I found them like
Yeah.
under $15. But yeah, I'm excited.
They're beautiful.
I didn't know the ID on a lot of them, so I got a lot of ID help in the comments. But I think I got a Calathea White Star, a Trio Star, Stromanth Trio Star, and then a Calathea Zebrina.
Yeah.
All at once.
Very pretty.
I
I always
mean-
want to call them stromanthes.
Oh. I don't really hear people talk about them online very often.
I think it is stromanth, right,
Who knows? It's Latin.
Adam?
I used to say Stromanthe, but again, we all know what we're talking about, but I haven't had one in a while. And I kind of feel like a fraud because, we sit here and we preach like, if you kill a plant, it's okay, just try again. But like me, I'm like, I'm never owning another Calathea ever. But then after watching your video, I was like, those were cute though.
They're tiny. They are cute.
Yeah, they're so cute. Ah! Yeah, I love them. I'm excited. We'll see how it goes.
Did you
I'll
give
keep
them a
you
nice
updated.
spray down and clean them up?
Not yet. They're currently just sitting on the floor in the sunroom, just not touching anything. I did that with some other plants that I brought in like a couple weeks ago or a couple months ago. They sat there for like probably a month not touching anything, which is like way too long, but I was procrastinating. And I was like, cool,
Yeah.
like looks like we are out of the dark ages because, pests come in on new plants. And, certainly will come in on Calathea. But I didn't see anything on them yet. We'll see in a few days if anything's popped up. If anything's sprouted. We'll see.
Well, I guess my week has been pretty, kind of the same as Becca. It's been like cold and cloudy here, which I haven't been used to living in Arizona. And so this week has just been like a really blech kind of week.
Yeah,
So,
I know.
I mean,
My mom told me the same thing. She's
it's
like,
it's
"Ugh."
snowed here, which is exciting. I didn't get to see it
Yeah.
because it didn't snow at my house, but it snowed in Phoenix and some of the surrounding areas. So that was kind of cool to see.
Really cool.
I mean, I kind of wish I would have went out driving just to see how much people couldn't function in the snow.
You don't want to know, Adam.
I think it's cool when people. Yeah, seriously. I feel like I like when people post pictures with like cactus covered in snow, like in the actual desert.
Yeah.
I remember it snowed when you were still living in Tucson, right, Becca? And you like posted some video on your Instagram.
Yes. I just
Really?
actually thought of that photo when you said that. I need to go back in my feed and like bring it back because yeah, it's so beautiful.
I remember when she was scraping her windshield with the debit card.
Oh, yeah. I guess I need to get a snow brush.
It works, does it not?
Oh, it does. Yeah, it does. Works in a pinch.
I mean,
You just need one little window.
yeah. But that would never work here, obviously.
Yeah. But yeah, this week I think has been pretty chill. I've been like I rewatched all of Veep, not just this week, but I finished it this week because I just love that show so much. And The Night Stalker, watched that.
It was so good.
Yeah. Becca, maybe you should watch that since you're kind of like out in the middle of nowhere. Yeah, I wouldn't watch it.
I haven't watched it yet because I'm like so engulfed in Outlander. Like I'm so deep in Outlander.
Jamie.
Knee deep. Oh my god. Wouldn't you? Oh. I'm married. No, Jamie's beautiful and he's so noble and true. He is noble and true. That is how I describe dogs. So it's not sexual, but that man is noble and true. And a few other things. But
That's how I describe dogs, so it's not sexual.
In my defense.
But dogs really are noble and true, right? Like, come on.
Yeah, they really are the best.
Yeah, they are.
What about you,
Earhart.
Nicole?
Well, I filmed a few videos and edited a few videos this week. So I feel like I'm on a better track than I was last week. I feel like I was in the fog last week. But I'm slowly getting out of it. We got the snow that Becca got on Monday. We got it on Tuesday, but we got like 8 inches of snow.
Oh my gosh.
So Chicago's a little buried right now. People freak out like this doesn't happen every year, and it does. But it's nice though because every other winter we have to take the kids to school, and our kids go to 3 different schools now. So we would be like, a good part of our day would be commuting in this crappy weather, and since they're e-learning, we don't have to go anywhere, so it's great. But my mom and Ted sold their house.
Woo!
They got a buyer. Yes, it's very exciting. It happened very fast. So they're kind of just going through that whole process of like appraisal, and the closing is like 30 to 45 days. So it's just like a thing. But as I was thinking about this time last year, I realized that it has been exactly 1 year since I've seen you, Becca. Since we've been together. 1 year.
Oh my gosh.
Wait,
You're right.
that's not true though.
Yep.
We saw each other in March, didn't we? Because it was like right when the pandemic was hitting. Because Mama Clean lives.
Oh, that's right.
Sorry,
okay.
I'm just here
we
to
saw.
I'm just here to knock you back down
No,
to reality.
You're right. Well, that makes me feel a little bit better, actually.
But we
'Cause I was
probably
holy shit, it's been a whole year.
we probably won't see each other until it has been a year though, because unless in February I drive
Yeah,
up to Chicago,
Yeah,
which the
that could be a thing.
weather permitting, maybe. But I'm like really scared to drive in
Weather
the snow
permitting.
and ice.
Yeah, you should be scared because people that are used to it don't even know how to drive in the snow and ice.
Truth.
Yeah.
But okay, so it's been 11 months because I was there for my mom's birthday. My mom's birthday's on Monday. And we saw each other in February. But then, yeah, that's right. We did see each other in March because that's when the pandy started.
Pandy.
It's kind of crazy. It's been almost a year, though. It's nuts. So I was thinking about that. And then I was thinking about how, like, it's been a while since we've all seen each other. So we got to make that happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Adam, when are you booking your ticket?
I know. I really do. Would you let me sleep in your spare room?
Of course.
I gotta wait till the spring so I can ride that 61-inch dick.
Yeah, wait until it's like good weather. And then you can enjoy like the good weather. And then you
Yeah.
can mow the lawn for
Slap
us.
a plow on it and you can snow plow it.
I'll wait till Nebraska's playing Mizzou, and then we can just go to a game together and like be all sporty.
Oh my God. We could enjoy some sport ball.
Although I will say the last time I was in Columbia was for a Nebraska Mizzou game, and it was, I think, the worst I've ever been treated by people in my entire life. This coming
No
from
way.
a kid who was grown in a small town and was gay but tried to be straight. Like, yeah, it was bad.
Oh no.
I'm sorry. That was funny.
That's okay.
Oh, Adam. Sweet Adam.
But I was just
And it
treated
was-
terribly because I was wearing red and I was in Nebraska gear. So like everybody who was wearing red in Nebraska was just treated like, I mean, we had things thrown at us at restaurants. We had people like throwing stuff out of their cars when we were walking down the street. It was just awful.
Oh
It's
my
not that
God.
serious.
Yeah.
Okay.
God.
Don't go to a U of A ASU game then. Like, I'm just telling you. It gets pretty bad. Like, people are usually nice, but like if someone was wearing like an ASU outfit at a U of A game, like, you know for sure people are going to be like, "Fuck ASU. Go back to hell."
Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty certain. Because
God.
ASU, they're the Sun Devils. So that's why people tell them
Yeah.
to, you know.
Oh, go back to hell. Got it.
Yeah.
I don't do sports like at all.
Bear down.
Bear down.
Hey, don't make fun of that. It's beautiful. Beautiful sentiment.
In Chicago.
But I'll never get it out of my head when you were just like, tell the team to bear down.
And a tear drips down her cheek. I'm just like, but in Chicago, it doesn't mean that.
And Nicole's just like, okay, tell the team to bear down. That's a beautiful, like, that would put a tear in any Wildcat's eye. You find me a Wildcat that does not stir up emotions for. You won't find one.
All right, guys. So let's talk about today's episode. Today's episode is going to be all about plant myths and us pretty much debunking them. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about some things people say you should or shouldn't do that really don't make a whole lot of dang sense.
Becca, do you want to like try to get out of the FaceTime and then get back in to see if it'll like speed up your connection issue?
Yeah.
Let's see. Hello?
Well, now you're
Oh, hi.
clear.
Is that better?
Ooh, yes.
Yeah.
Crystal clear,
that's
Becky.
a lot better.
I switched to my other internet network.
It's like high definition,
Yeah,
Becky.
now I can see all of your freckles.
Oh. Even the ones.
Yeah, she has brain fog, all right. We're fully clothed on this podcast, guys. We promise.
My face is red.
It is. Sorry, Adam. Didn't mean to make you blush. You too, Nicole.
I'm always blushing. Okay, so I think I'm gonna pull up a list of things here, and what I was thinking that we can do, guys, is maybe we can like go over each one and say, you know, like what we think about that myth.
Yes.
Okay. So now that Becca has an orchid, do you plan on watering your orchid with an ice cube?
Just watering plants with an ice cube? Never.
That's myth number 1, watering your plants with an ice cube. Like, give your orchids an ice cube. 1 a week, and it should be totally fine.
I mean,
For one, who came up with this idea? Like, who thought this up?
I don't know. I feel like we did talk about this in an episode in the last couple, but like some people, it just works for them and they have beautiful orchid collections. And I'm just like, how?
Yeah, I feel like this is like lazy man method, you know, or lazy woman method, you know, whatever. But I wouldn't do that.
I mean,
Just give your
it's just like ice cold water. Like how do you feel about jumping in like ice cold bath? Like I can't imagine that plants love
No.
I don't know if their roots even. I mean, I think it matters what temperature hits them, but I don't know. But Becca's right. Some people it does work for, and and they have it on all the tags. I don't know if your orchid tag that you just got, Becca, had it on there, but like most orchids that you buy in the store, they still said in the instructions like add an ice cube.
Yeah, I need to look and see, but I don't remember seeing that on it. The woman at the cashier told me, she was like, okay, so do you know how to water the orchid? And I was like, no, not really. I'm kind of new to it. And she's like, okay, well, the roots will turn a different color when it's thirsty. And then you just soak it for a few minutes and then take it out. And I was like, okay, what color? She's like, I don't remember. I think it's silver. And I was like, oh, okay. She was trying to remember what color.
That's interesting.
But I did notice the roots were like starting to change color because it's currently in spag, the plant. And someone actually suggested not to repot it while it had blooms on it, because the blooms might fall off. So I'm not going to repot it for that reason yet. I will, but not yet. So it's just sitting in spag. But the roots did change color. I think it turned like a darker green. Silvery. Yeah, okay, I'm not an orchid girl. I'm just learning. But
I think that the ice cube method is just a way of keeping people from overwatering their orchid, probably. And I'm sure it works in a similar way to like using one of those like terracotta water sticks, or like the bulbs, those upside down water bulbs, that it can slowly take up water over time. But it's an ice cube, like you said, Adam. It's cold, so why would you do that?
Yeah,
I think just learning how much water your orchid needs and when it needs it is a much better method than giving it an ice cube.
I guess you're right there in that, like, it was probably a way for growers to just try to be like, here's the least damaging way to water an orchid, because people would probably overwater it, etc. So
right.
I mean, I guess that does make sense. I've never done that personally, but I've also only had a few orchids, so.
And I mean, if the orchid's not dying, or it's not, it's not getting leaf drop from the cold of the ice cube, then maybe it can't tolerate it. I don't know. I always thought that was really weird. Okay. The next one is putting some rocks or some other substance in the bottom of your pot that doesn't have a drainage hole to act as drainage. Yeah. It's like, that's a cringy thought. What do you guys think about that?
I definitely did this when I first got succulents. Like, because, I don't know, I had an ex-boyfriend or something buy me succulents, and I was like, what do I do with these? So I went and I got, like, some planter that didn't have drainage, and I put them in just straight up soil. Miracle Grow.
Miracle Grow.
And I put rocks at the bottom. And listen, they died very quickly. Number 1, because it was succulent. Number 2, Miracle Grow. And number 3, rocks at the bottom. But there's something to do with the perched water table that like says, you guys probably know more about this. I just have heard people say not to do it because of something to do with the perched water table, which I don't know what that is. I'll admit.
Yeah, I mean, I think Betsy Begonia did like a really good video on perched water table, but it basically is saying like there's a force of gravity that's making the water flow through the pot, like from down towards the bottom. But then there's another force, I think maybe capillary action or something, that's causing the water to just like move upwards. So where those two forces meet is the perched water table, which just basically always stays saturated. And usually that's in your soil plants, that's at the bottom of the pot. Like the bottom inch will probably always be the most saturated spot. And if you put rocks at the bottom inch, then that inch moves up higher to closer to the roots. So that's why,
root rot.
Yeah. Then that perched water table is getting closer to your roots, which is when you'll get root rot. I mean, I have heard of like people doing that, and like if I had like a decorative pot outside that I wanted to put a cactus in, but it was like a really huge pot, I would put like bottles in it or something like styrofoam that I had left over that I couldn't recycle in the bottom to like raise up, just so I didn't have to fill that entire pot with soil, but using it as like a way to have a fake drainage hole or whatever. I mean, it can be done. It just probably shouldn't be done ever.
Mm-hmm. Plus, it's going to stay, if there's no drainage hole, it's just going to stay extremely wet down there all the time, like constantly.
Yeah.
Like, you know, when you think about watering every couple of weeks because the top 1 to 2 inches of your plant is dry, think of all the water that's just going to be building up at the bottom of that. And it's usually a plastic pot or like a ceramic one that it's not terracotta that doesn't like wick it through, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
So I just instantly think root rot when I hear about people doing that. But I did watch Betsy's video. It's a really good video to watch if you're looking for an explanation on that.
Yeah. And also on the subject of non-draining pots, I've seen a long time ago, I saw Planterina she had a plant potted with no drainage. And she basically just said, like, I don't recommend this, but I have been having plants for a long time, so I feel like I know what the plant needs, how much water it needs. And so I water it, and then she, like, put her hand on top of the soil and then dumped out the excess water so that it had a place to go. Because if you don't do that, then the water is literally just going to sit there at the bottom of the pot and rot the plant. So if you are going to pot without a drainage hole, hopefully it's a small enough plant where you can tip it upside down and like cover the top with your hand so you don't lose soil and like dump out that excess water.
Yeah.
I've done that before. I'll admit. I had a plant in a pot like that for a long time. It was like in a little cow cashpo, and I would just, it was like a 3-inch pot, and I would do that. And it was fine. It lived for a really long time.
Till you killed it.
Until I moved.
Just kidding.
No, I eventually took it out and then repotted it with a different plant. Like I combined it with something else.
You know that those pots that I have by the artist Aloe Frost, but that's the mustache pots.
Oh yeah, those are so cool.
Yeah, so he makes a bunch of different versions, but he's been doing these ones that are actually like little people, like a cartoonish type person. But the drainage hole is actually just like it peeing. Like that's where he's got a little tiny
That's
like
so
phallic,
funny.
not realistic looking male sex organ on it. I don't know how to say. It's got a little
dick.
weenie.
I'm sorry.
That's a dick.
Jumping around the subject. It's a penis.
It's another explicit episode.
When you water your plant, that's where, and the inside of the pot it's funneled through, and I thought that was so cool. I was like, okay, that's hilarious. I kind of need one of those.
That's funny because he has ones with with boobs too. Like I see a lot of people getting them for their booby cactus.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They're really cute.
How do we feel about like the body planters? Because I've seen some like for like the penis plant that are like pretty explicit. What do we think?
Yeah.
Have you seen those planters? I'm like,
yeah, like where they look like a casting of somebody. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't get one, but I have younger kids, so that's just the only reason.
Someone went out and got that like kit where you can make a mold and then they just put clay in it instead.
I'm gonna sell this as a planter.
Oh, the molding.
I would do like a butt planter or like a booby planter, but maybe it's
a butt planter for lithops.
Ew.
Cute. I want one.
I hate lithops. Ugh.
Ooh, I know what to get you for your birthday.
Bunch of lithops. Gross.
Yeah, I don't know what it is about those, like, because I kind of like the butt planters too, or even like the boob ones. But like when it's just a penis, I'm just like, what am I gonna do with that?
Yeah, it's like there isn't like a vagina planter, like with the plant coming out of it. Like I think lower front extremities, I'm like, maybe we just don't make planters out of that. But
you know what they say, everybody has their own kinks.
Everybody has their kinks. I don't think we've ever talked about that story on the pod, and we've said that a few times, so people might not have any idea.
Like, what?
Well, do we want to talk about it?
What's the Actually, I don't even. It's something to do with Daniel. What's the origin?
Daniel said it, right?
Daniel said it, but he didn't mean it in the way that it came out. But I can't remember what you guys were talking about.
Dang it. We're relying on me
So,
to remember. I don't remember.
He
what
was
we were
meaning
talking
it from what I remember, he was meaning it like in like a everybody does things their own way, or everyone likes whatever they like. But he says everyone has their own kinks. I don't know. Which is also true.
That's right. Oh, poor Dan. He didn't mean it sexually, but
Yeah.
it is. And then I told you guys probably.
Yeah.
Oh, sweet Daniel.
Oh, sweet Daniel.
Have you
That's
seen
funny.
that TikTok where it's the dog and she's like, "You don't have a thought behind those eyes. You don't know nothing. You ain't got a clue." Have you seen that TikTok?
No.
Oh, sweetheart,
know
there
what-
isn't a
I
thought
don't
behind
know.
those eyes. It's so funny.
I don't know what TikTok I'm stuck on, but it's definitely not dog TikTok.
I'm on. Wait, let me tell you what TikTok I'm on. I'm on ex-evangelical Christian bisexual TikTok. I'm like, TikTok thinks I'm
love
bi.
That.
Nice.
I love that journey.
I'm not bi, but obviously I'd rather be on bi TikTok than straight TikTok.
I mean, my TikTok is like full of like pimple popping stuff, which is weird because it's not my thing at all. But apparently
I like those.
TikTok knows more about me than I do. And then every once in a while, a Trumper gets thrown in there. And to me, I think that is TikTok's version of Netflix. Are you still watching? Like TikTok's be like, they just toss in a Trumper just so they know that I'm still doing it. It's because I block them all. Every time something comes up that's like pro-Trump, immediately blocked. But I think that's TikTok's way of being like, are you still paying attention, or is your thumb just stuck in a scroll motion?
I started blocking people on TikTok, which is just like such a stupid thing. Like if I would see it, I did it twice yesterday. I saw two people, like one of the posts that they made was like things you shouldn't say as a Christian. And I was like, block. Like I'm not on behavior management Christian TikTok right now. Like what the hell? Behavior control Christian TikTok is not a place that I want to be. Talk about trauma. But yeah, so a lot of people that show up are like people that are talking about leaving the church and like being bi and all of that, and I'm like, this is interesting.
I can get behind that.
But
That's it.
yeah.
It's funny that you said that because my good friend Jessica, who is here in town, used to be my small group leader at my church back in Illinois. Like her and her husband, I've known them for quite a long time. Beautiful human beings. But she texted me this last night and then this morning just saying like her and her husband wanted to FaceTime with me. And I immediately was like, okay, well, like, no big deal. But then as I went further, like, I just kept getting this like recurring trauma because in the church that I was involved in, the cult, like no one ever hung out just to hang out. Like every time you got asked to dinner at somebody's
There was a
house,
motive.
every time you got asked to lunch, like there was always something. And they always say we care about community, but anytime that they actually like when someone was like, hey, we'd like to have dinner with you, like there was something to discuss.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't just like let's hang out and get to know each other. And so I texted her and I was like, you know, this church really messed me up because I know that I'm not in trouble with you, but like that's all I've been thinking about all day long. And she gets it because they were in the same place with this cult. So she was like, no, you're not in trouble, obviously. Like, and I hate that you feel that way. And I was like, yeah, because churches really can screw people over.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's a lot of trauma involved in all of that. Oh, it's strange. Very sad. On that note,
Next
adding
up,
peroxide to the soil.
sometimes I feel like should we have another podcast where we don't talk about plants? Because I feel like a good 50% of our podcast is us as our banter and like our minds just wandering off and talking about other things, which is totally okay with our audience, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But okay, yeah, adding peroxide to the soil. We kind of briefly talked about this when we were talking about De La Tanks and just like how, yeah, it will kill any pests that you may have lurking around in there. Which, speaking of pests, that just brought me to something else. Someone DM'd me the other day and said that, she said, is it normal to find a bunch of ants crawling in your plant? Like a colony of ants were in her plant.
Oh, jeez.
And I was like, where'd you get that from? You know, she said she got it from Home Depot. No surprise there. But I was like, it had to have come from the grower, you know, like
Yeah.
they were probably outside at one point. But it's also going to kill all the beneficial bacteria in your soil if you use peroxide, which I just learned that. I didn't know that till recently.
Yeah, so it's better than baking your soil and microwaving it, but it does take a little while for those microbial colonies to return. Yeah. So I have fungus gnats right now, and it's taking a lot for me to not just go around with hydrogen peroxide water, because it always worked. 100% of the time I would get rid of the fungus gnats, but I don't know what else I was getting rid of. So unless you have like a really bad infestation, I wouldn't suggest doing it.
Yeah, fungus gnats suck in the winter too. Like they come out full force, I feel.
Yeah, it is fungus gnat awareness season. Fungus gnat awareness month. I'm making it a national holiday.
But yeah, I mean, I don't have anything to add other than what was said, but if you're in a pinch and you really need to just like, if people in your household are pissed that there's fungus gnats or they call them fruit flies or whatever, like, yeah, it'll help. It'll help cure that. But I think that's the only thing. Like, if people are using it to just get more oxygen to the roots, then you need to change your soil. Like the benefits of the only benefit, and to me, with peroxide in your soil would just be to kill larvae, but also, like you said, you're killing everything else. Like, there's no other benefit to the plant, I don't think. But again, I'm not a botanist.
I've heard people use it to cure root rot as well, which I have no I have no experience with that. I know that Harley made a video about it like a long time ago. That's where I first saw that. But yeah, I don't know if I watched it, so I don't know anything about it. But I've heard that people use it for that.
True. I have heard, now that you said that, like, I have heard people say that, like, they've used it on root rot too, but I've never tried that, so I guess jury's out on that if it actually works.
Yeah, but if your plant has root rot, you should just repot it. Right?
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I guess if
Cut
it's
those
like
off.
showing early signs, maybe it'll be okay, and that's when you would use it. But
Well, like, I don't understand that process though, because yeah, like you said, you need to repot it, because if your plant has root rot and the hydrogen peroxide does work in a sense where it's killing off that dead root rot, so are you just going to leave all that nasty rotted root in your planter and like carry on with your day? Like, that would drive me nuts. knowing that that's in there. Yeah.
Well, Nicole could never kill somebody and bury their body, because you heard it here, folks. It would drive her nuts knowing that there's a body in the ground.
It's there, man.
Along those lines, though, I have
this
had
next
her.
one?
Along those same lines as people who have watered with like bubbly water, not the flavored. Like, if you just got plain carbonated water, I've heard other people had success like just watering with that, just because it gives another oxygen molecule. I mean, they're not using it to like contain anything or kill anything.
Really?
But yeah,
I've never heard of that.
because I accidentally bought a case of like non-flavored carbonated water, which no thank you, not gonna do that.
Ugh.
So I
Gross.
did put it in some plants to use it up, because I was like, well, I'm just gonna use this.
I would think it would kill it, but I guess I'm just thinking.
I mean, because
I'm
it's
not
just
thinking.
like carbonation. I don't know. I'm not suggesting it. I'm just saying I've heard people use carbonated water.
Crazy.
You're giving your plants carbs. It's one way to do it, I guess.
What if they're on a diet?
They're on a low carb diet.
Those are protein bars.
What
Sorry.
the hell?
A little mean girl quote.
Those are protein bars.
Oh my god, Mean
Loaded
Girls.
with
I haven't
fat.
seen that in so long.
Okay, on Mean Girls, here we go again. Let's switch the topic. I watched Mean Girls with Mia for the first time, and she laughed so hard through it. I was on the fence about it because I was like, because PG-13, like, I don't know who rates these movies, but some PG-13 stuff, I'm like, okay, you're not allowed to rate movies. This is too much for a 13-year-old. But it was so funny. And like, usually, like, when you try to show kids movies from our generation, they're like, what? Like, I wanted her to watch Clueless, but I was like, okay, no, that's probably gonna go right over your head, But she loved Mean Girls, and it was so fun because she's like, oh my God, I want to watch it again. It's hilarious, So I was like, oh, it's cute.
That's funny.
But I love Mean Girls. Hilarious. Okay. Next up. Plants cannot be in a bedroom because they release carbon dioxide at nighttime. Why at nighttime, though? Like, why? I
just don't know. This is obviously a myth.
Yeah, because my bedroom has tons of plants in it.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I mean, I have nothing to say. It's not true.
I have nothing to say. I think there's something with, like, the rhythms in plants and, like, during the day what their activities are and during the night what their activities are, because, like, us, I think plants go through, like, active and rest. But I don't think a plant could ever release enough carbon dioxide to have any sort of effect on you unless you're sleeping in a room with like thousands of plants and
it's airtight.
It's a very small space. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
like an enclosed greenhouse.
It's like people who say, like, if I wore my mask in my car that I was poisoning myself with my own breath. Like,
oh, good God.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it stinks, and I use a
already.
tongue scraper as much as I can. But you know what? Like, this mask isn't going to kill me.
We love a tongue scraper.
Unless you have a burger with onions on it for lunch and then you have to wear your mask. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Don't do that. Literally bought a tongue scraper because the original cast, the OG Queer Eye for the Straight Guy, always talked about tongue scrapers, and I didn't even know it was a thing. And as soon as I saw it on there, I was like, need it. Need to scrape this tongue.
I use one too.
I think it's like a dental myth that helps though.
Is it really?
But the stuff that comes off my tongue,
I know. Me too. I use one as well, and I'm like, this is interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I listened to a podcast that had a dentist as a guest, and the people asked the dentist if it was like actually helpful, and they're like, And I'm like, no, this isn't right. They're wrong.
You haven't seen mine.
I'm not listening to this doctor.
Yeah. And my confirmation bias has not been confirmed, so please change your facts. I'm still going to do it, though. Because I see stuff come off, and I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
I'm not swallowing
That's
that.
my thing. If I could physically see it, then...
That's what she said.
Unless you're scraping too hard and like you're scraping your taste buds off your tongue, that would be bad.
Right? Okay, have you guys ever like really taken a good look at your tongue and like seen the taste buds?
Yeah,
like
it's disgusting.
It's disgusting. They're like
Yeah.
a bunch
Gross.
of tiny
Disgusting.
That video's too good.
It was one of yous.
Which one of yous took a shat?
I remember you guys showed that to me. That was so funny.
The best part is like how truly shook the girls are. They're just like they like you can't even see my face, you guys, but they're just like shook to the core. And the fact that the mom, like, you know when your friend's parent like comes in the room and like screams at your friend and then it's like silent for a few minutes, like
Yeah, and you're just standing there like, what the heck do I do?
same energy.
Yep.
Oh gosh. Okay.
What's our next myth?
The next myth is misting our leaves. How do we feel about this one?
I'm very anti-mist as of the last couple of years. I was very pro-mist at first, and it has its place. I used to use misting as a way to care for my plants, quote unquote, without watering them and like without overwatering them, over caring for them, because the mist, like, usually it doesn't harm or help, depending on the plant, of course, but for the most part it's not harmful, and it gives you something to do if you feel like you want to care for your plants, but it does nothing for them.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, there's no boost of humidity. I think that
Yeah.
I was pro mist too, and fungal infections can spread so much when you mist your plants, and that was the main reason that I'm like, okay, I'm not going to do this anymore, because we pick up philodendrons or aroids from the store, and sometimes they have fungal infections that you're not aware of when you got it, but you know, misting that only just spreads that fungal infection to the other leaves. So yeah, I try to do it sometimes with my philodendrons they get stuck, you know, the philodendron leaf curl.
Yes.
I've tried to like mist those parts of the plant more, and I still do that, but as a boost of humidity, that's not going to do it for you. That ain't it, sis.
That ain't it.
That ain't it,
Yeah,
sis.
I would say like lubricating new leaves is a good way to use your mist. I know.
I'm such a
Because
child.
they will rip sometimes if it's not humid enough, and just giving them a little extra bit of
Wait. You
What?
think we could slap some Astroglide on some some philodendrons and maybe they will just slide right out of that cataphil?
I'm done. I'm checking out.
What's that? Is that like a brand of lube?
Oh, straight women. Yeah.
Oh my god.
I mean, there's a myriad of types of lubrication.
I
but-
had no idea about this one.
Well, should I just said KY jelly? Should I just said KY? See, the jelly,
An oldie but a
the
goodie.
really the jelly part just ugh. Why did they call it jelly?
Peanut butter jelly time.
but like
Anyway,
there's
no, but I'm
even,
being
like,
serious.
You could get like the one that like heats up. Like
Oh yeah.
Stays-
Just really have a moment there with the philodendron.
gross. Cut it out.
You,
Cut it out.
you might have to take a lot of this out.
Not doing it.
That's so funny. I'm blushing. So anyway,
Okay, what's our next myth? Were we done with
Okay,
that one?
The next, yeah, for the most part. I mean, I was just gonna say with like, you know, when leaves are pregnant and they're trying to push that baby out. I actually find that running it under warmer water, like just giving it a bath and like holding it there, sometimes it'll pop out like right then and there. Like I've birthed this leaf, or
It's a water birth.
Nicole the midwife.
it was a water birth,
Oh, my clean doula.
or
New business venture.
oh my god. Or just like a warm paper towel, like laying it on top of it for just a little bit. That helps too.
Oh, true. I never really thought about that. That would create like a little dome of humidity there.
Yeah. Okay.
Wow.
Plants will grow bigger if they're potted in a bigger pot. This is a good one.
Okay.
Because this is definitely something I thought in baby My Clean Leaves days.
So let me expose myself. This is not true for indoor houseplants, but is it at all true for outdoor plants? Like, is there any truth? Like, when you're potting outdoor plants, is it the same, like 2 inches? Go up 2 inches? Because those things grow so much faster.
No, it's not. Because you mean with potted plants or in the ground?
With
This is where the misconception comes in. Because
yeah. So
because people think. Go ahead.
no,
sorry.
I want you to go.
So if you're planting a garden, and I'm not a gardener, so take what I say with a grain of salt, but I think I know this. If you're a gardener and you're planting flowers in your garden and they grow to be these big, lush, beautiful bushes of flowers, it's not the same thing with plants in a pot, like in an actual planter, as opposed to plants in the ground. And that's where people get confused. They're like, well, how do they have all this space to grow? Like, why wouldn't that work the same way with houseplants? And I think it's because they're thinking they're not thinking about the possibilities of root rot and water sitting in the bottom of an actual planter. When you're planting in a garden, you're watering your flowers and the water's dispersing throughout the earth, and it has all the drainage in the world, you know? So I think that's what it is.
Yeah, but okay, so like Becca, maybe I think we're on the same wavelength as far as like if I had a big decorative pot outdoors and I wanted to plant like annual flowers in it, and they come in like little 2-inch plugs from like the store when you buy your annuals, I would probably put those in a bigger pot. But also the conditions are different. Outside, it's definitely going to dry out a lot quicker.
Yeah.
I think. And
It does, yeah.
so
Yeah, because you're not
Yeah.
going to put a 2-inch plug in a 4-inch pot outside and think like this is
Yeah.
going to be fine. It'll dry out like every single day.
Right.
Because those plants are also like way
yeah.
thirstier.
Right. They do dry out a lot quicker. Like I'll water, even when I bring my plants, my inside plants outside, I'm watering them every single day because they dry out like an hour or two later. They're dried out.
yeah.
So, but with house plants, you know, if you think that taking like a 2-inch pot and putting it in an 8-inch pot is going to make it grow bigger, yeah, in a sense, it has the space to grow bigger, but you also have so much extra space for soil to just stay wet and moist, and the roots are not big enough to suck up all of that water, and they can turn to mush and root rot.
I remember when I first started, someone used the metaphor of like, imagine moving out of your dorm room and into a huge mansion. Like you wouldn't have the stuff to fill up that mansion. It would just be this giant, like, sparse space. And I think they related that to like the roots are the same way. Like the roots don't even they wouldn't even know what to do with that much room. Like they would just be like, what the heck? So
That's a good metaphor.
I don't know. I mean, it won't prevent. I mean, plants are going to go bigger no matter what. Like if you're giving them the conditions and you're taking care of them, they'll grow bigger. But the pot size doesn't determine that. Like, you know, and I've heard that old thing like with goldfish, like they'll only grow as big as their pot will let them, or their fish bowl, which I don't know if that's true or not either. But like, that's if you put a smaller plant in a really big pot, like you could probably take care of it and it'll probably still be alive. But the only thing you're stopping is having to repot that sooner. But then again, like a year, 2 years down the road, that plant's going to be used up all of its nutrients in that soil. So you're going to have to repot it for nutrients anyway, I think. I don't know. Just my thoughts.
Yeah, it won't make it grow any faster to be that
Right.
size.
All houseplants need to be in a south-facing window. Wrong.
Not
So
true.
wrong.
Yeah, I
Nope.
think that goes along with what we said like in the episode where we talked about our original, like how we were when we first got plants. Like I
Yeah.
used to shove all my plants right in the window as close as they could possibly be so that they could get all the light, and that's just not necessary all
fried.
the time. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, cactus and most succulents maybe, but it also depends, like, because you know, a lot of succulents can have more fragile leaf textures too, and they can also get sunburned. So bright indirect light, I feel, is the best. Like, that's what I tell everybody. Bright indirect light, like it's the best for most plants, you know?
And conversely to this myth, if you buy a low light house plant like a snake plant, Sansevieria dracaena, whatever, it can't live in a room with no windows. So like no plant can. I mean, it may stay alive for a bit, but that's never going to be the environment. So it kind of the other way too is like you can't say low light plants mean like they can live in the dark, because it's not true. Should we just pick a couple more juicy ones?
Yeah, let's do this mayonnaise one is interesting to me. Which
Oh, I have some words about this.
I was hoping you were going to
Okay.
say that because I love the way you say mayonnaise.
mayonnaise,
May-
mayonnaise.
You always go, mayonnaise?
Putting mayonnaise or milk on leaves to shine them. Okay, so I've actually never heard this, but my initial thought is like that'll clog the shit out of these leaves. Like, won't it?
Oh yeah.
Mayonnaise
But
for sure.
But like some old school grandmas used to do that though, right? Like they would, or maybe was it mayonnaise or was it something else that they would use to shine their leaves?
Mayonnaise for sure. Okay, I have tried the milk thing. I've tried to shine my leaves
You
with
have?
milk. It works. I use diluted milk, but it smelled so bad.
Yeah, like oh.
Yuck.
That was a bad smell.
Well, same thing with mayonnaise. It's like it's dairy.
Yeah.
Like what? That can't be good to just sit on the leaves like that. So is it wiping them down with mayonnaise and then wiping them off with water and milk? Or is it just like leaving it on there? Like shine it up, leave it, let it go.
It's basically like you dip a cloth into the diluted milk and you just rub it on. That's it.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I don't know about the mayo. Like, I don't know if they would lay it on thick or they do it like similar to neem oil. Oh no.
Oh
I
dear.
think mayonnaise was just used for a lot of things, you know, like mayonnaise cakes.
Cakes.
Like people were just like, hey, I could see milk seems weird to me because at least mayonnaise has oil in it. And that's what I could see people like, I need to shine these leaves. This has oil in it,
Yeah.
oil shine. So I'm going to use it. But milk seems weird. I don't know why.
And milk is cloudy, so it's like why would somebody get the idea to try that?
Yeah, I think it left like a film on the plants. Like they were shiny,
Really?
but there was a bit of a film.
And, you know, like Nicole said, plants have cells on them to expel air. And that's why a lot of the times on the back of your leaves, like you'll see like hard water and salt buildup on some plants because they're releasing excess water, what have you. So if you smother that in mayonnaise, which sounds delicious, but you're basically just like suffocating them.
I use lemon water
Yeah.
to shine my leaves, which I have not done in quite some time. Maybe that'll be a tomorrow project. Yeah, I'll do a video. But
I mean, your channel is called My Clean Leaves, so you should
I
really
know.
be on top of that.
you guys, speaking of cleaning, okay, if you want to feel like a fucking terrible, dirty person, clean your fan blades.
Oh, I know.
I can see my fan blades. Ooh.
Well, I could see mine too, and I did my fan blades in my living room, and it was this is how I know candles are toxic as F, and like we shouldn't be lighting them. But there was just this big film of black soot on the top of mixed with dust, of course, and dog hair, I'm sure. And it was just it was sticky. I couldn't even get it off my hands. Like it looked like I just put my hand like inside of a recently burnt candle. Like it was gross. But I can't live without them, so I'll continue to light them. But yeah, it gets everywhere. It gets everywhere.
If a candle is
Anyway.
like soy-based wax, are those ones still bad?
They're better, I think.
Like soy-based with essential oils? Maybe that's a little more natural.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't even know what candles.
A lot of companies. Well, it's the I can't ever say that word.
Toxicity?
Toxicity. It comes from
the
the
taste of your
actual.
lips, I'm on a ride.
I'm sorry, Nicole was speaking.
I know.
I love that song, by the way.
Great song.
It comes from the fragrance. It comes from the actual fragrance. So a lot more people, like companies like Bath and Body Works, which are the best. Sorry, they are. They are starting to scent their candles using essential oils now because of that.
Yeah.
So anything with fragrance is just bad because we're going to go into this. Okay. Fragrance is it's something that it's a word that they use that can pretty much hide any trademark secret that companies used to make that product. So they can hide a bunch. There could be like 100 ingredients under fragrance, and they don't legally have to list it.
I didn't know that.
Right. And it's the same for skincare.
Oh no. Skincare is a bit, yeah. Yeah. That's why if there's like fragrance in your skincare, you should not be using it, or your soap or anything.
Thank you, Hiram.
Our king.
Welcome.
So, ever since I was little and I found out that dust was like 90% dead skin cells,
Oh,
whenever I move to like a new place, I have to completely like make sure I dust everything, because the thought of like bumping into something and like breathing out someone's dead skin cells just grosses me out. I don't know.
isn't that gross?
Yeah, so like when I moved here to Arizona, I was like, I'm cleaning the fans.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fan blades, guys. Wow. But like, think of all that. It's the same thing with your plants. Like, that's why people have to dust. You know, Jay says undust. He's like, I'm going to undust today, because he's like, why are you saying dust? Are you adding dust to stuff? He has a point. Anyway.
Checks out.
All that stuff is just sitting on top of your leaves, you know?
Yeah. Blocking the sun. Refracts off of
blocking the
it.
sun.
You gotta keep them clean.
Plants need to photosynthesize. Keep your leaves clean. Okay.
Last myth. Do we have a last
myth.
one?
Yeah, let's pick one. Houseplants need to be watered at least once a week.
Hard no. That's a hard no.
That's a hard no. I think that, like, I don't know, like back in the day. Okay, so back in the day, if we're talking about back in the day, like our grandparents per se, or like our great grandparents, what was around? Palms and pothos? Like, that's pretty much it, right? That's what they had.
Yeah, like
as
Hartley
houseplants.
philodendron.
Yeah. When you think about these plants, they're kind of, you know, they're pretty resilient. Well, not, did I say ferns? Ferns are not resilient. But, you know, pothos can pretty much take anything. And I think watering your pothos once a week, if you're not, you know, if you're watering it the right way, is fine. You know, so like maybe these myths came from quote unquote back in the day. But we all know that you need to water your plants when they need water and not just once a week.
Yep, they don't get watered on a schedule in nature, so it doesn't make sense to do that at home. But
yeah, and actually that's a good point. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, like, if that helps you to have a schedule so that you remember to go check on the plant, that's fine. But, you know, schedule that you have to water it every week, no matter what the soil looks like, is not right.
And someone actually asked me about, because, you know, being in Chicago, it rains a lot. And they're like, well, how do you keep like a watering schedule when all your plants are outside? And my plants do so much better outside because, well, one, they're getting rainwater, which is way better than the shit water that comes out of my faucet. And two, it is windy, so they dry out right away. But like, I just don't water. Like, when I know it's going to rain, I just don't water them that week. Or I just, you know, check on them. But yeah, that's so true, that just plants, like in nature, they take in the water that they need when they can get it. And that's it. Because people aren't watering plants in nature.
And look, some people can successfully, if they know how to grow a plant, they can successfully water it once a week if you're giving it a certain amount of water. But in general, to teach somebody new to houseplants to be like, oh, you just need to give this water once a week, that's a big no-no.
And I guess I'm feeling like we're talking to a bigger audience that has like a bigger plant collection, not just a couple of plants. So yeah, like you said, if you have just like a plant, maybe once a week will be fine for that plant. But if you have a whole collection with all these different plants that have different needs and care conditions, for sure not the case. All right. That was fun.
Yeah. Myth. Distilling some myths. Wait, dispelling, not distilling. That's water.
Ooh.
Distilling.
And alcohol.
That's true. Distilleries.
All right, guys. Well, that was fun. I would love to know if you guys can think of any other myths in regards to plants. So if you do, leave us a comment on today's post over on our Instagram page at Potted Together. And if you're not already following us, go do that.
What are you doing with your life?
What you doing? We're also on YouTube, if you didn't know. Someone actually reached out to me the other day and was like, you guys should be on YouTube. And I was like, oh my gosh, we are. And she's like, oh my God, no way. And I was like, yeah, go check it out.
We do have a channel. We have videos go out around once a month. You know.
Yeah, we try once a month.
Yeah.
Maybe.
It's hard when we can't get together to do collab videos. It's not a very easy thing. But hopefully 2021 will change that.
Yes. Hopefully
Fingers
we see each
crossed.
other this year.
I hope so.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget to leave us a rating and share this podcast with a planty friend.
Yes,
Love
do
it.
that. All right, guys. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Gear Patrol calls their new dive watch the best sub-$500 dive watch. Full stop. Men's Health rated them as the most stylish solar watch in the game. Who are we talking about? It's Movement. They're leveling up your gift giving with the sleekest watches you can buy and the biggest deals of the season. Shop 30 to 50% off Movement's innovative California clean watches, jewelry, and accessories with fast free shipping and returns now at MVMT.com. That's MVMT.com.